Hello students, good morning all of you. Welcome to Samagra Siksha Abhiyan online classes. Are you following online classes daily? Students, it is the best opportunity to you to continue your studies sitting in your homes by online classes. So, must and should follow online classes daily. It is very useful to you. Okay, students? So, myself, B. Radha Devi, working as a physical science teacher at KGBV, Kallur. So, today I am going to discuss about the chapter Friction from 8th class. So, to start this chapter, you have an idea about the term friction in the previous lesson. Already in the previous lesson means force, you got an idea about the friction. So it is also a one type of force. Okay students. So today in this class we are going to discuss about the lesson friction. Okay students. So today topic is friction. Okay. So in the friction there are some keywords are there to you so that you can read these keywords in this lesson. Okay. Let us note the keywords which are coming in this lesson. Okay students. So first term is friction. Second term, static friction. Third one, sliding friction. Fourth one, lubricants. Fifth, ball bearings. Seventh, drag. Eighth, fluid friction. These are the keywords which are very useful to you to know the meanings so that you can understand the lesson friction. Okay students. Okay, now let us watch this video very carefully so that you can understand the term friction very easily. Okay, now watch the video. See here, why the bull is slipping? Now if you observe the picture here, the bull is slipping from top to bottom position. Why it is slipping? Because it doesn't have grip on the floor. Is it? So if in everything would just keep slipping and falling all over the place in the world if we don't have any friction. So it is not possible to imagine that situation. Okay students. So we have to say thanks to friction that it is not happening in this world. Okay friends, let us continue to watch the video. Okay, here you have two balls and they are rolling in two different surfaces. So one is smooth surface and another is rough surface. So if you observe very carefully the motion of the ball, see, watch it carefully. So if you observe the motion of the ball, So in the first surface, the motion of the ball is very speed because it has less friction. Why it has less friction? Because it is a smooth surface. It is a smooth surface. While coming to the next ball, that is which is rolling in a rough surface. Rough surfaces have more friction. That's why the ball is moving very slowly. Okay, students. So, what is friction? Here the definition is there. Friction is a force that is created when two surfaces move or try to move across each other. So, if you observe, the ball surface is very smooth and the surface of the first ball is also smooth surface. So, the ball is moving very fast. And the next ball also has been surface smooth, but the surface which is rolling is a rough one, so that it is moving very slowly comparing to first ball. Okay, students. Yeah, so here if you observe the both surfaces in one diagram only, in one picture. Okay, here if you observe, the motion of the ball is very fast in the smooth surface and the motion of the ball is slow. See here, the motion of the ball is very slow in the rough surface. So why it is happening means it depends on the texture of both the surfaces. Texture means the rough surface and the smooth surface and the ball rotation also. And one more thing here we have to note that the amount of force which is applying by us, we have to push a ball, so we have to apply some force. That one also depends to the momentum of friction. Okay, students. So see, it is moving very slowly in the rough surface comparing to smooth surface. Okay. So the force acts in opposite direction. Why it is acting opposite direction? See, the force acts in the opposite direction to the way an object wants to slide. Means if you want to go forward with our applied force, then the friction gets back in backward direction. We will stop us in backward direction. Just like if you are stepping for one step, we are moving our front leg and the back leg, our friction is applying in backward. Okay, if you observe in this figure, here a boy is riding a bicycle. So he gave brakes to this bicycle. When he applied the brakes to the bicycle, at that time the applied force wants to move in forward direction, but the brakes given by him to the bicycle wants to stop in backward direction. So the brakes are nothing but here friction. Okay, students. Okay. Now observe, watch. Okay. So now we understand very clearly about friction. Now note down here some more examples are there to you. You can understand the concept friction easily. See here, a moving ball on the ground stopping after some time. So if you throw a ball, it will stop. Naturally, it will stop at some place. Why it is stopping? Because of friction only. It is stopping its motion. Okay. Okay. Next one is we slip when we step on a banana peel. Why we fell down when we step on the banana peel? Because banana peel is a smooth surface, so if we step on to the banana peel, we'll definitely fell down because of smooth surface. Okay, so it is difficult to walk on a smooth and wet floor. So in the rainy season only we observe these situations. So we can't walk in a wet floors. We will fall down because here there is so much of smooth surfaces are there between our foot and the surface floor. Okay, so that we can fall down. So force of friction always opposes us by the applied force. So if you want to apply the force, then our friction force is applied in opposite direction. So if you observe in this picture, here we have a boy is riding a bicycle or bike or a toy car. The boy applied force is moving forward, but the friction is acting as backward to get a grip on the floor. Okay, students. Okay, if you discuss one more example. Okay, suppose you decide to ride a skateboard. Suppose you are deciding to ride a skateboard. So if you want to ride a skateboard, you have to push off the ground with one leg and you have to move with another leg. And you are started moving. But is it possible to continue for a long time to you with the skateboard? What happens? The answer is no, we can't continue to move in a straight way for long time. Why? Because the skateboard slows down because of friction. Okay, so a skateboard definitely slows down because of friction. So friction is the force that opposes motion between two surfaces that are touching each other. Here the wheels and the road surfaces are touching each other. Then at that time the applied force will act in forward direction and the frictional force will act in backward direction. If you observe in this picture also, you can understand that very easily. So if we are applying force from our left side to the book, then the frictional force act as in right side because left side is opposite to right side. So then if you apply the force from our right side, then the friction will act as in left side. So by observing the definition, we can understand friction works as opposite in direction. Okay, students? Okay. So friction. Now we get an idea about the friction. The force which opposes the relative motion of two surfaces of the bodies which are in contact is called the friction. Now you have to get an idea about the definition static friction. So just understand the definition of static friction. Okay, the opposing force means the frictional force which comes into play when we try to move an object at rest related to another surface of object is called static friction. Means Here the static friction works when it is working. So when the frictional force will comes into play, will comes into motion, at that time we can say that static friction starts. Okay, so we can understand this one by watching one experiment. Okay, the experiment is to understand the nature of friction. Okay, students, now watch the experiment very carefully. So what is the aim of the friction? So what is the aim of the experiment? Understanding nature of friction and the concept of static friction. So the aim of the experiment is to understand the nature of friction and also the concept of static friction. Okay, students. So the materials that are required in the experiment is toy trolley, small wooden block, inextensible string, weight hanger and weights, pulley and a table. Okay, students. Okay, these are the materials to do the experiment. So what is the procedure to you? First, keep a small block on a toy trolley as shown in the figure. So we have taken a toy trolley. Okay, and here we have keep a small block. We have kept a small block on a toy trolley as shown in the figure. Tie an inextensible string to the trolley and pass it over a pulley. Okay, students. Now take a small weight and kept it on a weight hanger. We will notice what we are noticing. See, by putting weights into the weight hanger, we will notice that the trolley with the block on it move towards left. See once again. The trolley is moving with the block towards left with an acceleration. So by observing this situation, what we understand? We understand or we observed that the block is observed to be at rest because it is kept on the toy trolley. So with respect to the surface of the toy trolley, it is in rest position. The block is in rest position. But it experiences a force equal to the product of its mass and acceleration produced by the trolley and the weight hanger. But it is in motion with respect to the surface of the table. Okay. The block is in rest position. Okay, students. So if block is rest, then we get static friction because here the block is not moving. The other surfaces which are related to them is moving. Okay, so static friction is equal to MA. With the help of the toy trolley and the weights, it is moving. For suppose as we go on increasing the acceleration by increasing the limiting weight, see, if you are increasing the weights, then the acceleration of the toy trolley, what happens? Observe it. We observe that, what we observe? We observe that the block starts sliding in the opposite direction of acceleration at a particular applied limiting weight and a slip from the trolley. Okay, students. So here what we have understand, then we get maximum static friction or limiting friction. Maximum means here the static friction comes into play. So when we are performing this experiment by applying some grease to the bottom of a wooden block, we observe that the block sliding back and slipping from the trolley even for a little acceleration, because we applied grease on the bottom of the wooden block, so it is a smooth surface, so that it can slip very easily by the limiting weights. Okay, students. So what do you understand from the experiment? The static friction and the nature of the friction. Okay, students. So what are the factors that are affecting the friction? Let us see. Friction depends upon two factors. Okay, what are they? They are nature of the surfaces in contact, means the smoothness of the surfaces, how hard the surfaces press together. First one, nature of the surfaces in contact, means the smooth or rough surfaces, and one more is how hard the surfaces press together. If you press on the surface, then the friction also affects. See, friction is less on smooth surface. We observed this one in the first video only, because in the first video the ball is moving very speed in the smooth surface. Okay, so if you roll a block from an inclined plane, it moves very fastly in the smooth surface, and friction is more on a rough surface. Already we know this one in the first video only. See the distances between the smooth surface and the rough surface. Okay, students. Now next one is how hard the press, means if you press the object very hardly, then the friction is more. At that time we get some sounds also, because the friction is more there. Then the friction is very less if the surfaces are not pressed harder. If it is moving very easily, then at that time friction becomes very less. Okay, students. Okay, now causes of friction. So why the friction appears? Why? What are the reasons? So friction is caused due to the interlocking of irregularities between the two surfaces in contact. What are irregularities? Means up and down. Okay. See here. If the surfaces are not in smooth, means so much of irregularity, means up and downs are there, then at that time friction will takes place. Okay. So smooth surfaces have minute irregularities between the two surfaces. So in the smooth surfaces also some irregularities are there, but they have very minute differences. But in the case of rough surfaces, have large irregularities. If you observe in the picture, it is in very large. Means it is a rough surface. So here the friction becomes very large. Okay. So force of friction is more if the surfaces are rough. And one more thing is friction depends on area also, area of contact. See in this picture you have two blocks kept one upon other. At that time the friction becomes very more comparing to the blocks which are kept beside. Okay students, so the frictional force is independent of the area of contact. If you observe in the picture which is kept blocks one upon us, then at that time the friction takes place very more comparing to the blocks which are kept as beside. So friction is independent of the area of contact. Okay. Next one is a friction. Is it necessary to us? Let us discuss. Hold an earthen pot. Earthen pot means just like a mud pot or a glass tumbler with a oily hands. What happen when we hold an glass tumbler or a earthen pots with an oily hands? Definitely it will fall down because oil hands will not have a grip to hold anything. Okay. It is difficult to move on a wet muddy track or a wet marble floor. If you pour a water on the marble floor, we can't walk as fast as because we will fall down. Writing with a chalk on the blackboard. So here by holding the chalk piece also we want some gripness. If the chalk piece is very smooth or if the chalk piece is very smooth, then we can't hold it for a long time. Okay, it will slip down from your hands. So if an object started moving, it would never stop if there were no friction. If an object started moving, it would never stop if there were no friction. It is discussed in the starting only. So if there is no friction, we can't do anything in the world. So friction plays an important role in our life. So these are the some situations only, but we can face so many situations because of absence of friction. So many accidents are happening in the surroundings. Okay students. So friction can also produce heat. See, if you rub your hands together, then we can produce the heat from our hands. Here, friction can also produce heat. So here we are lighting the matchstick by rubbing the surface, means rough surface. See? So friction also producing light. So when you strike a matchstick against the rough surface, it catches fire. Here two surfaces are there. One is rough surface which is in matchbox, and the other is smooth surface which is in the matchstick surface, the head of the matchstick surface. Okay, students? Okay. So these are the necessary events. Without friction, what does happen? What we can't do. Okay, and how we can increase the friction. Is it necessary to us to increase the friction? Let us discuss. So, in certain places only, we want more friction to take place. What are that? Let me see. Cars. If the cars are traveling on a wet floor or a wet road in the rainy season, then if there is a no friction at that time, the car, what will happen? The car doesn't stop, and it may be accidents has been happened. And for shoes also, we don't have a grip if there is no friction. Okay, so shoes and tires of vehicles have grooves. Grooves means some designs are there to increase the friction. This gives good grip on the roads. Okay, students, see, if you observe in the picture how the grooves are given to the vehicles of tires and the shoes, this one gives to increase the friction. Okay, so gymnastics and a kabaddi players. Gymnastics means who are going to hold the weights. Okay, and a kabaddi players apply some course of substances, means some type of powder has been applied to their hands for the better grip of instruments and for playing game. Okay, then spikes are provided in the shoes of players and athletes to increase friction and prevent slipping. See here, if you observe in the picture, here some spikes are there in their shoes because they are running. At some places they maybe fall down, which is smooth surface. So at that time they want to get a grip, so that the spikes are provided to the shoes. Okay. So now we have up to that we are discussed about how to increase the friction. Now we are going to discuss about the friction, how to decrease. Okay, so why we want to decrease the friction? Because more friction will affects the surfaces, objects, and so on. So how we can decrease the friction? Using lubricants like powders or oil and grease. So on the roads, these are the things which are used to smoothen the surface. Otherwise, the tires will blast. Okay, then using rollers or wheels to push the heavy objects easily. Okay, using ball bearings in the machines. Why we are using ball bearings? Ball bearings reduces the friction during motion. So that efficiency of the machine is increased. Otherwise, without using ball bearings, the machines will spoil in very less time. So, to increase the efficiency of the machines, they use ball bearings, and the machines are move in a smooth manner for a long time. Okay, students. We sprinkle powder on a carom board to reduce friction. Definitely, we are playing carom board in our daily life. We played it. At that time, if you observe, we sprinkle a powder to move the coins very slowly and reach the holes. Okay. Then oil or grease is applied between moving parts of machines to reduce friction. So if you observe in this picture, here a mechanic is there. He is applying the grease or oil to the machine parts, because if the friction is there, if friction is increased into the machines, then they get fired and heat is produced. Okay, students. Okay, then rollers are used in luggage bags to reduce friction. To move the heavy luggages, heavy weights also, we use rollers, so that we can reduce the friction and we can easily move the luggages from one place to another place. Okay, so ball bearings are used in ceiling fans, bicycles and vehicles to reduce frictions. Like this, they are arranged ball bearings into the ceiling fans. It is a picture to you to understand where the ball bearings are arranged. Okay. Then making the surfaces also in the parks. Making the surfaces smooth by polishing. So in the parks are there is in that places slides are there nearer to the swimming pool. From the slides only we are sitting on the slides, we move on to the swimming pools. So that slides also makes very smooth. Okay, by polishing some paints. Like this, we can apply some oils, grease, rollers to decrease the friction. Okay, students. Now we are going to learn about the types of friction. Okay, what are they? There are four main types of friction. First one is static friction. Second one, sliding friction. Third one, rolling friction. Fourth one, fluid friction. So here four types of frictions are there. Already we know the idea about static friction by the experiment done by us. Okay. So now let us discuss one more time. Static friction is the opposing or resisting force between two solid surfaces. Here an almara is there, it is not moving while we apply force. So here it is a opposing or resisting, means doesn't move by applying the force also between two solid surfaces. Okay, if you observe one more picture, see here a boy wants to move a sofa. Okay, he started moving. So, but it is no movement, means it doesn't move by applying force. So here which type of friction is acting? Static friction, because here by applying the force also it is not moving, means here some resisting force is there between the two surfaces, means the sofa and the surface, means on the floor. So here we are applying force, but the frictional force wants to stop the object, means here static friction is happening. If you observe in this picture also, self-adjusting force. So static friction is nothing but self-adjusting force, means we have to adjust the force, we have to increase or decrease the force to move the object. Okay, this is the static friction. And if you, now we are going to discuss about the sliding friction. See here, if you observe in the picture, sliding friction is the friction that occurs when solid surface slides over on other. See here in the ice, they are playing hockey. Examples: writing pencil point on a paper. For pencil point it is in rough surface, it is in smooth surface, and paper is a smooth surface. That is here the pen moves very softly by the sliding friction. Combing your hair, means surface of comb and strands of hair are in smooth surface, so that the comb will move in a smooth manner. Okay, see, sliding on the ice. The children are enjoying very happily in these situations. Nowadays we are getting slide gates also. We are using this type of gates in the new buildings which are constructing nowadays, so they can move the gates very easily by arranging wheels to the gate. Okay students, see, for the cars also some wheels are arranged so that they can they can move very easily. Now we are going to discuss about the next friction, that is rolling friction. Okay, rolling friction. What is rolling friction? Rolling friction is a friction that occurs between surfaces in motion in which one of the surface is a wheel, roller or a ball. So, rolling friction is a friction that occurs between surfaces in motion in which one of the surface is a roller, wheel or a ball. Let us discuss with an example. Making chapati by using roller. So two surfaces are there, but one surface must and should arrange with a wheel, roller or a ball. Here roller is in roller is making chapati. Chapati is in flat surface, but roller is in round position, so that we can make chapati very easily. riding a bike, tires and ground. See, tires are in round position so that they can move from easily from one place to another place. Bowling, ball and a lane. Okay, if you throw a ball, the land surface is very straight surface so that the ball can move very easily. Like these rolling friction examples are also there in this picture. You can observe car tires, paint rollers. Nowadays paint rollers are using to paint the houses very fast and easily. Then football shape, bearing shapes are all in round position only. Okay students, now we are going to discuss about the next type of friction and last type, that is, sorry, if you observe in this picture, first figure is static friction, second figure is sliding friction, rolling friction. What are the differences do you observe in this figure? In the first picture, the boy is using more force to move the block. In the second picture, the boy using less force to move the block. In the third picture, the boy is using very less force to move the block because it has arranged the wheels. So here what we are observing, that static friction which is observed in the first figure is greater than, because more force is using there, so it is greater than sliding friction. In the sliding friction, the force which is used is very less comparing to the first picture. So here we are decreasing some force only in the sliding friction comparing to the rolling friction. And in the third picture, a small less force is using to move the block. So sliding friction is greater than rolling friction. Okay students? Okay. Now we are going to discuss one more type. See, rolling friction is depend on the shape of the rolling object. If it is in spherical shape, lower friction resistance, means round shape is there, then their friction is very less. If it is in the cylindrical shape, the friction is very high and the resistance also becomes high. But because they will not move very easily comparing to the spherical shapes. Okay. Now we discuss about the next type of friction, that is fluid friction. So what is fluid friction? When a solid object moves through a fluid. See here in the ocean, the boy is riding, means water is there around him. Okay, gases and liquids are both fluids. So the force that tries to slow objects down when they move through a liquid or a gas, means the force that tries to slow down objects when they move through a liquid or a gas, means if you observe in the picture, see here a man is riding in the ocean. Here water or is the liquid state. So here we have to get and control on the riding. In that place also friction acts. So which type of friction? Fluid friction. And in the second case, an aeroplane is moving from the sky. Here gases means air is there around it. So aeroplane is a solid object. It has to move by reducing or by pushing the gas backward. Okay. So it is also known as a drag or air resistance. So fluid friction is also known as a drag or air resistance. Now one type of shape has been given, that is a streamlined body is a shape that decreases the friction drag between a fluid such as air and water and an object that passes through that fluid. Drag is the force which reduces the speed of the motion, which is in fluid friction. Okay students, what are the shapes? Let us see. All gases and liquids are fluids. Already we know examples. An airplane and a swimmer. If you observe the picture, the shape of the airplane is in streamlined body shape. Means it is like just like a bird shape. And a swimmer also is in, he kept his hands forward to keep a bird shape. Okay. Now if you observe in the picture, see here the objects which are moving in the liquids, fluids and in gases, they are in streamlined body shape. Okay. See, streamlining body shapes, if you observe here, you can understand very easily the shape of the fish, the shape of the aeroplane, the shape of the train, the shape of the swimmer and the riding bicycle. So they are in streamlining shape so that they can easily move forward in the in the fluids and gases. So here also we are in the streamlined position. In the picture also the swimmer has to maintain streamlined position to move forward. Okay students, so these are the concepts we have to discuss in this class. Okay, so I think you better understand this class. Now do worksheet which was given related to this class. Okay students, so the class questions are: what is the force of friction? What is the cause of friction? What is the direction of force of friction acting on a moving object? Why does a matchstick catch fire when rubbed on the rough surface of the box? Give some examples where ball bearings are used. And which surfaces does produce more friction, either smooth or rough? Name the types of friction. Which force help us to write on the paper or a blackboard? Which type of force help us? Already we know. Okay. What is drag? What are fluids? Give some examples having streamlined body. I have already shown you the shapes of the objects which are in streamlined shape. Mention 2 ways to reduce friction. These are the questions to you to make answers in your notebooks. Okay students? Okay, thank you.